For the first time in African military history, Algeria is stepping onto the global defense stage, not as a buyer, but as an arms exporter. The Fajr 700, a domestically produced combat drone, has just been approved for international sale. This isn't just a technological milestone, it signals a bold, new era of military ambition. Why is Algeria making this move now? Who are the buyers? And how will this reshape the balance of power across Africa and beyond? Algeria has just redefined its role in Africa's defense landscape. With the official export of the Fajr 700 drone, it becomes the first African nation to independently produce and offer a domestically developed combat UAV to the international market. This is more than a technological achievement. It's a bold declaration of sovereignty, strategy, and strength. In this video, we'll explore why the Fajr 700 is not just another drone, but a symbol of Algeria's growing military-industrial capabilities. We'll trace the country's shift from decades of foreign dependence to a position of influence and innovation. You'll learn about the drone's technical features, the nations showing interest in its purchase, and the geopolitical consequences this move could have across North Africa, the Sahel, and beyond. From military doctrine to regional power dynamics, we uncover why this development is being watched closely by both allies and rivals. Algeria isn't just building drones. It's building a legacy. For decades, Algeria's military strength relied heavily on foreign partnerships, particularly with Russia and China. The bulk of its arsenal, tanks, fighter jets, radar systems, and missile defenses, was imported, assembled, and maintained with external support. This dependency, while effective in building one of Africa's most powerful armies, left Algeria vulnerable to geopolitical pressures and supply chain limitations. The shift began in the early 2010s, driven by a combination of rising regional insecurity, oil price fluctuations, and an ambition to assert greater national sovereignty. The government initiated a broad strategy to localize military production, investing in defense research, manufacturing infrastructure, and partnerships focused on technology transfer. The goal was clear: transform Algeria from a consumer of military power into a creator of it. Several milestones marked this transition. Algeria entered joint ventures with global arms manufacturers to assemble armored vehicles domestically. Local production of Kalashnikov-style rifles began, followed by efforts to co-develop light military aircraft and surveillance equipment. While these steps were significant, they were largely incremental until now. The emergence of the Fajr 700 drone marks a major leap. Unlike previous ventures that depended on foreign blueprints, the Fajr 700 was conceived, designed, and built within Algerian borders. Its successful development represents the first time the country has moved beyond assembly lines and licensing agreements to produce a fully indigenous weapon system ready for export. This evolution reflects a deeper strategic vision, to position Algeria not just as a regional power, but as a technological leader capable of influencing security dynamics across the continent. The export of the Fajr 700 is the culmination of over a decade of transformation, and it signals that Algeria's military-industrial complex is entering a new and assertive phase. The Fajr 700 is Algeria's most advanced unmanned aerial vehicle to date, a medium-altitude, long-endurance, male, combat drone that places the country among a growing list of nations capable of producing armed UAVs. Designed for both surveillance and strike missions, the Fajr 700 combines endurance, precision, and autonomy in a single platform. Built with a wingspan estimated at over 10 meters and an operational ceiling of around 7,000 meters, the drone can remain airborne for up to 24 hours, giving it significant endurance for extended missions. It boasts a communication and control range exceeding 200 kilometers, with satellite relay capabilities under development. The Fajr 700 is equipped with electro-optical sensors, infrared cameras, laser rangefinders, and real-time data transmission, enabling day and night reconnaissance and target acquisition. In terms of firepower, the Fajr 700 can carry up to 4 guided munitions on hardpoints located beneath its wings. These include air-to-ground missiles, laser-guided bombs, and smart munitions developed in cooperation with domestic and foreign partners. The drone has reportedly demonstrated high strike accuracy during field trials, which were conducted in desert and mountainous regions to simulate diverse combat conditions. When compared to the Turkish Bayraktar TB2, currently the most exported drone in the world, The Fajr 700 is competitive in endurance and payload, but still trails slightly in battlefield integration and global combat record. However, it is more self-reliant in terms of production, offering Algeria full control over its supply chain. Compared to Iranian drones like the Fajr 6 or Shahed series, the Fajr 700 is more refined in design, with better modularity and a clearer emphasis on export viability. Development of the drone began in the late 2010s with the National Defense Industry Group, GND, and local research institutes leading the effort. Technical collaboration with Chinese and South African drone experts played a supporting role, especially in avionics and propulsion systems. The final prototype was unveiled during a closed military demonstration in 2023, followed by rigorous testing phases across multiple terrains. With the Fajr 700, Algeria has not only built a new weapon, it has built a strategic tool capable of reshaping its military doctrine and entering the competitive drone export market for the first time. Algeria's decision to export the Fajr 700 drone is not simply about entering the arms trade. It reflects a broader, long-term military strategy rooted in regional power projection, defense independence, and technological modernization. The timing is no coincidence. Amid growing instability in the Sahel, rising tensions in North Africa, and shifting global alliances, Algeria is positioning itself not only as a security actor, but as a military supplier capable of influencing outcomes beyond its borders. At the core of this strategy is regional power projection. For years, Algeria has pursued a doctrine of strategic autonomy, refusing foreign military bases, avoiding entangling alliances, and maintaining one of Africa's largest defense budgets. But until recently, its power was primarily defensive and inward-facing. The export of the Fajr 700 represents a turn outward, a soft show of strength designed to build influence through defense partnerships rather than overt intervention. There is also a clear political motive, to establish Algeria as an alternative to traditional arms suppliers in Africa. By offering a domestically developed drone tailored to the continent's terrain and security challenges, Algeria is inviting African nations to diversify their military partnerships, away from Western dependency and toward regional cooperation. This aligns with Algeria's foreign policy posture, which champions non-alignment and Pan-African solidarity. On the doctrinal level, the Fajr 700 fits squarely within Algeria's shift toward asymmetric warfare and deterrence. Rather than relying solely on conventional forces, Algeria has invested heavily in technologies that enhance its ability to strike precisely, monitor vast desert borders, and counter non-state threats such as terrorism, smuggling, and insurgency. The drone offers a strategic tool that is cost-effective, adaptable, and difficult to counter with traditional defenses. Lastly, the drone's export marks a symbolic and practical step in modernizing Algeria's military identity. No longer content to be a consumer of global military innovation, Algeria is asserting itself as a producer, capable of designing, manufacturing, and exporting complex systems. This is a statement of independence not just in security terms, but in technological and industrial terms as well. The Fajr 700 is thus more than a military platform. It's a message, and the world is paying attention. The announcement of Algeria's entry into the drone export market has sent ripples across North Africa and the broader Sahel. As Algeria steps into the role of defense supplier, regional players are reassessing their security strategies and their diplomatic calculations. Morocco, Algeria's primary regional rival, is likely to view the Fajr 700 with deep suspicion. Already locked in a decades-long cold conflict over Western Sahara, the two nations are engaged in a silent arms race. Morocco has heavily invested in Israeli and American drones in recent years, and Algeria's move may prompt Rabat to accelerate its own UAV acquisitions or push for deeper military ties with Western allies. Tunisia, facing its own internal security and economic crises, may adopt a more neutral stance. While not in direct competition with Algeria, Tunis may quietly consider partnerships that offer affordable surveillance solutions, especially for border monitoring. The Fajr 700, with its lower price point and regional origin, could become an attractive option. Egypt, with its vast military-industrial base, may see Algeria's progress as both a challenge and an opportunity. While Cairo maintains strong ties with Russia and China, it also champions African self-reliance. Algeria's drone export could spur competitive innovation or even open the door to inter-Arab tech collaboration. In the Sahel, where instability and counterterrorism dominate security agendas, Algeria's drone could be a game-changer. Nations like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso may see the Fajr 700 as a valuable tool for intelligence gathering and border control, especially if offered through favorable bilateral agreements. This could increase Algeria's soft power in a region where it already plays a quiet but steady security role. On the international stage, reactions are mixed. France may view Algeria's growing influence in the Sahel with caution, especially given its declining footprint in the region. The United States is likely to observe the development closely, particularly with concerns about drone proliferation, but may welcome an African-led solution to African security issues. Russia and China, both major arms exporters and Algeria's longtime partners, may support the move. Russia for geopolitical alignment and China for potential co-production ventures. Neither is likely to oppose Algeria's rise so long as it doesn't undercut their markets. Within African institutions, the African Union and ECOWAS may see the Fajr 700 as a milestone for African defense autonomy. If Algeria promotes the drone as part of a continental security architecture, it could win support from leaders who favor regional solutions over foreign intervention. The export of the Fajr 700 marks more than a turning point for Algeria. It could be a defining moment for Africa's defense and technological independence. For the first time, a combat drone designed, produced, and deployed by an African nation is entering the international market. This achievement carries weight far beyond the battlefield. It signals the rise of a new era, one where African countries can begin to shape their own military and technological futures. At the heart of this shift lies the concept of technological sovereignty. For decades, African militaries have depended almost entirely on imported hardware from global superpowers, with little control over pricing, upgrades, or operational autonomy. The Fajr 700 challenges that paradigm. It proves that with sufficient investment, infrastructure, and vision, an African state can not only manufacture complex defense systems, but can also sell them on its own terms. This move may also catalyze the growth of indigenous arms manufacturing across the continent. Countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt have already developed limited military industries. Algeria's entry into drone exports could provide both inspiration and competition, pushing other nations to accelerate their domestic programs. A shared ambition for regional self-reliance might also foster cooperation, knowledge exchange, or even the emergence of a Pan-African defense consortium. However, there are risks that accompany innovation. The success of the Fajr 700 could spark a drone arms race in Africa. As more countries seek to match or exceed Algeria's capabilities, the continent may witness a surge in UAV production and procurement. While this could strengthen national defense strategies, it also raises concerns about oversight, misuse, and the escalation of low-intensity conflicts where drones become tools of power projection rather than peacekeeping. Moreover, if exported irresponsibly or without proper regulation, combat drones could end up in the hands of unstable regimes or non-state actors. That would complicate already fragile security situations in regions like the Sahel, Horn of Africa, or Great Lakes. This underscores the importance of establishing ethical export frameworks, possibly coordinated through the African Union or regional blocs. In the end, Algeria's drone breakthrough is a milestone, but what follows will depend on how the rest of the continent responds. Will African nations embrace this moment as a call for innovation and unity, or will it deepen divisions and militarize fragile borders? The Fajr 700 has already begun to attract attention beyond Algeria's borders. Several countries in West Africa, particularly those dealing with border insecurity and terrorist threats, have expressed interest in acquiring cost-effective UAV solutions. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, each facing rising insurgencies, are reportedly among the early potential clients. The ability to monitor vast and remote areas, combined with limited reliance on satellite infrastructure, makes the Fajr 700 especially appealing to states with constrained defense budgets. In the Middle East, Algeria's growing ties with countries like Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Iran may open additional markets. These nations have previously shown interest in diversifying their drone portfolios beyond Turkish, Israeli, and Chinese models. Algeria's offer of a regionally manufactured, politically neutral alternative could position even in Asia. Discussions have reportedly begun with smaller Southeast Asian nations looking for surveillance and border control drones without the high price tags of Western systems. Algeria's ability to offer competitive packages, potentially including training, maintenance, and joint development, gives it a compelling value proposition. From an economic perspective, drone exports represent a new revenue stream for Algeria's defense sector. As the country seeks to diversify its economy beyond hydrocarbons, arms manufacturing, especially UAV technology, could become a pillar of industrial policy. Each sale helps recoup development costs, fund future innovation, and support domestic employment in high-skill sectors like engineering, software development, and electronics. On the diplomatic front, arms sales have long been a tool of influence. By supplying strategic partners with advanced systems like the Fajr 700, Algeria can deepen military and political ties, secure long-term defense agreements, and enhance its leverage in multilateral forums. This may also enable Algeria to shape regional security narratives from a position of strength rather than dependence. The Fajr 700 is thus more than an export product. It's a vehicle for extending Algeria's influence and reinforcing its identity as a rising power in a multipolar world. Algeria's export of the Fajr 700 drone marks a historic shift in Africa's military landscape. From decades of reliance on foreign arms to becoming a producer and exporter of advanced UAV technology, Algeria has taken a bold step toward defense independence and regional influence. The drone's capabilities offer a new tool for surveillance, deterrence, and power projection, while opening doors to strategic partnerships across Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. Yet, this milestone also raises important questions about the future of security on the continent. Will the Fajr 700 empower nations to better defend their borders and promote stability? Or will it spark an arms race that deepens conflict and instability? As Algeria's drone enters the skies over Africa, one question remains. Will Algeria's Fajr 700 become the Bayraktar of Africa, or ignite a wave of militarization the continent isn't ready for?